He's from the Midwest.
It's the honor of my life to accept your nomination for Vice President of the United States.
So is he.
I'm overwhelmed with gratitude to say I officially accept your nomination to be Vice President of the United States of America.
Tim Walz and JD Vance have similar backstories. Both had humble beginnings and served in the military, but in the vice presidential debate, they needed a point of difference.
I would just ask that. Did he lose the 2020 election?
Tim, I'm focused on the future. Did Kamala Harris censor Americans from speaking their mind in the wake of the 2020 COVID situation?
That is a damning non-answer.
I think both men really tried to emphasize likability, and they were both trying to come across as the more reasonable candidate, which is interesting. I think that there was a kind of effort to battle it out to see who could be the most Midwestern dad.
The governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, served in the National Guard and worked as a teacher.
I used my GI benefits to go to college and become a public school teacher. I coached football and taught social studies for 20 years.
Walz is projecting a kind of image of being a very, fatherly and grandfatherly figure. Someone you would trust to, take the neighborhood kids with other fathers on a camping trip.
Ohio Senator JD Vance is a former venture capitalist who rose to prominence through his 2016 memoir, Hillbilly Elegy. Since made into a Netflix film by Ron Howard, it tells the story of his rough childhood and his drug-addicted mother.
You got to decide you want to be somebody or not.
From the Midwest, Trump wants to do well in the Midwest. Vance has a story, a story about coming from a post-industrial economy and making it in the world that I think is appealing to certain kinds of people that Trump and his campaign wants to appeal to.
But while that's the story of the senator's roots, financial disclosures reveal JD Vance now has millions of dollars in assets. Tim Walz doesn't own a home or stocks. His assets worth hundreds of thousands of dollars.
All of the evidence tells us that Tim Walz is more representative of ordinary Americans.
In the vice presidential debate in New York, the pair clashed over the economy, immigration and abortion.
The direction of the discussion around abortion, it's clear that Republicans are hedging their bets, and they seem to be nervous that they might lose voters based on the abortion issue alone.
A former Never Trumper, JD Vance had to clarify his past comments that likened Donald Trump to Hitler.
I've always been open, and sometimes, of course, I've disagreed with the president, but I've also been extremely open about the fact that I was wrong about Donald Trump.
I think he has a lot of work to do to try to present himself as somebody who is not a shapeshifter. He's a shapeshifter.
While Tim Walz was asked to clarify inaccuracies in his past, including around his claim he was in Hong Kong during the Tiananmen Square massacre.
All I said on this was I got there that summer and misspoke on this, so I will just, that's what I've said.
Clean it up, yes, but I think let's move on. Look at what's happened alone today. I really don't even think that merited a question. And I think these other misstatements, let's really, what is underlying them? Are they really important in the scheme of things?
While observers agree vice presidential debates have little impact, some believe it could be different this year.
And I think because it's the last time we'll hear from these candidates before November 5th, it was important. It does have the potential to have some impact, even though traditionally they really don't.
Both campaigns are hoping their candidates' Midwest appeal will pay off in battleground states like Wisconsin, Michigan and Pennsylvania. In the end, it might not matter. One poll shows about a quarter of Americans still don't know who they are.
I don't think that this debate performance will swing many voters in either direction. I think that the people who want to vote for Trump are going to vote for Trump, no matter what. I thought that Tim Walz performed well, but I don't know that he performed so well that it will inspire a whole generation of Midwest dads to turn out and vote for Harris.